It's an accepted part of our culture today to believe that we are all destined to do something truly extraordinary. Celebrities say it, business tycoons say it, politicians say it, even Oprah says it. Each and every one of us can be extraordinary. We all deserve greatness. But the fact is that this statement is inherently contradictory because after all, if everyone was extraordinary, then by definition, no one would be extraordinary. Being average has become the new standard of failure. The worst thing you can be, we're told, is the middle of the pack, the middle of the bell curve. But the problem is that statistically speaking, pretty much all of us are in the middle of the bell curve almost all the time, in almost everything that we do. Even people who manage to be exceptional cannot manage to stay exceptional for very long. A lot of people are afraid to accept mediocrity because they believe that if they accept being mediocre, then they'll never achieve anything, they'll never improve, and that their life maybe doesn't even matter. But I find this sort of thinking to be dangerous. Once you accept the premise that a life is only worthwhile if it's truly notable and great, then you basically accept the fact that most of the human population sucks and is worthless. And ethically speaking, that's a really dark place to put yourself. But most people's problem with accepting being average is more practical. They worry that if I accept that I'm average, then I'll never achieve anything great. I'll have no motivation to improve myself or do something great. But this too is a misguided belief. The people who become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they are obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are in fact not great at all, that they are mediocre, that they are average, and that they can be so much better. This is the great irony about ambition.
We live in a culture where there's constant fear of not being special enough. And so words like average, normal, basic have become curse words, and we would hate to be called them. And studies show that many of us would rather be called crazy or something else that has a negative connotation than to be called normal. So what's happening now is that we are living by this unspoken subconscious value of constantly trying to prove how we are not just ordinary. How does this show up in our daily lives? It shows up everywhere, from our profiles on social media to the cars or houses that we buy. It even shows up in our relationships. So maybe when we're at work, we want our co-workers to know what an interesting social life that we have, or when we're with our friends, we want them to understand how important our work is. So what we try to do is be a little bit better than the people around us. And studies prove that we don't want to be too much better because that will make us too unfamiliar, and that's not what we want. What humans usually tend to do is they want to be the best of their social group. So we want our house to be a little bit nicer or our clothes to be a little bit more expensive than everyone that we know. Why do we have that problem? Well, apart from constantly being bombarded with cultural messages and images from our media, like I saw an article on Forbes saying that the beauty industry is worth $445 billion, and we know that an average person is exposed to more than 3,000 adverts a day. The point of all those adverts is obviously to make you feel a little bit bad so that you can purchase those products. But the main question is, why does it work, and how come we buy into those messages? Martin Lings, who is an English professor, believes that we were created that way. There is something in us that always feels small. And so we all have this feeling of not being good enough and this shame-based fear of being ordinary. And it's just part of our hardwiring. And so that's why the media and the luxury industries are so successful at playing with our insecurities.
As the author of the New York Times article states, the most meaningful lives aren't necessarily the extraordinary ones. It's the ordinary ones lived with dignity. We can do this by connecting with others, embracing our daily tasks with gratitude and positivity, and contributing to something bigger than ourselves. It can be as simple as doing a favor for a friend, or standing up for a cause that's meaningful to you, or at the very least just letting someone cut in front of you in traffic and not getting road rage. The vast majority of people will not have an obituary written about them when they die. but we can all strive to lead a life filled with goodness, courage, and dignity.